or you can reach us at the internet at www.ifbccfbi.gov. In an effort to assist the FBI with manpower, I have directed the U.S. Marshals Service to assign more than 300 deputy marshals to provide needed assistance to FBI field offices. These deputy marshals will be assigned to the various locations across the country to augment and enhance the ongoing investigation and the responsibility we have. While the FBI has always had a law enforcement presence in the air, the Department of Transportation has decided to expand our country's law enforcement capacities in that respect. Each day as flights increase, we will be adding additional enforcement officials from the Department of Justice as air marshals on planes, in addition to the already heightened security on the ground in airports. These additional law enforcement officials from various federal agencies are being assigned to the FAA to ensure aircraft passenger safety. Yesterday, I met with several members of the House and Senate leadership, including the leadership of the Intelligence and Judiciary Committees. FBI Director Mueller and I discussed with them the current threat assessment, including our belief that associates of the hijackers that have ties to terrorist organizations may be a continuing presence in the United States. This threat assessment has helped us to identify several areas where we should strengthen our laws to increase the ability of the Department of Justice and its component agencies to identify, prevent, and punish terrorism. The meetings we had were very productive, and I'm optimistic that we will be able to act quickly to provide law enforcement with the additional tools that are necessary to fight terrorism. I was encouraged by the members' support and their pledge to work as members of the Congress with the Department of Justice to move this agenda of anti-terrorism legislation forward. In the next few days, we intend to finalize a package of legislative measures that will be comprehensive. Areas covered include criminal justice, immigration, intelligence gathering, and financial infrastructure. And while the final details are still being discussed, I can highlight a few of the items that we will address in the proposal. Under intelligence gathering, we want to provide additional tools to collect intelligence on terrorists, including expanded electronic surveillance, search authority, and the ability to identify, seize, and forfeit terrorist assets. Two specific changes we have proposed include: first, current law requires us to obtain a wiretap for a phone number. It does not allow us to obtain a wiretap authority for an individual. Well, with the advances in technology, we need to make sure that our laws are also advancing. We're proposing that we provide wiretaps so that you can assign the wiretap to the individual, so that we can gain intelligence from individuals who use multiple telephones and changing cellular phones that move around with individuals. You understand that assigning the authority only to the hardware means that when a person changes hardware, we lose our capacity to surveil. And given the nature and availability of literally disposable telephones in modern society, we need to be able to have the court authority to monitor not the phone, but the telephone communications of a person, and to have that authority stay with the person. Second, current law requires that we obtain a separate wiretap in each jurisdiction of the country where an investigation is being pursued. We would like to change the law so that one wiretap approval can be obtained for all jurisdictions working on an investigation, particularly given the mobility of individuals and the capacity of individuals who are mobile to communicate. This is a reasonable upgrade in our opportunity to help us curtail and combat the threat. I want to assure you that in our effort to make sure that law enforcement can gain the intelligence that it needs in order to protect America, we are also mindful of our responsibility to protect the rights and privacy of Americans. Within the area of criminal justice, we want to make sure that our laws convey the seriousness of the crime of terrorism. First, we want to eliminate the statute of limitations for prosecution of terrorism crimes. Second, we feel it is imperative to make sure that terrorism is made the same kind of priority, that we would be able to fight with the same kind of integrity and equally strong tools that other crimes are subjected to. For example, we are identifying instances where the law currently makes it easier to prosecute drug trafficking and organized crime or espionage than it is to prosecute terrorism. If terrorism has not had a priority in the criminal justice system previously, it's time for us to understand that it needs to be a priority in the criminal justice system now. Let me give you two examples we have for increasing the penalties and elevating our capacity to deal with terrorism. A person who harbors a person involved in espionage is subject to stiffer penalties than a person who harbors an individual involved in terrorism. We think this reflects an inadequate response to the kind of threat that terrorism poses to our culture. Within financial infrastructure, it is important to have an understanding in our laws of the result of offering financial support to a terrorist. Understanding will not only give us the ability to adequately punish those who assist terrorists, but also move toward dismantling the infrastructure of terrorist organizations. We are proposing providing material support or resources to a terrorist organization an offense that would enable us to prosecute someone under the money laundering statutes. Now, we will be working diligently over the next day or maybe two to finalize this comprehensive proposal. And we will call upon the Congress of the United States to enact these important anti-terrorism measures this week. We need these tools to fight the terrorism threat which exists in the United States, and we must meet that growing threat.